All right. Good evening. Good morning. Good day, wherever you're at on the flat earth. Oh, of course. Certainly subject up for debate. And I certainly agree with the captain. We are not we are not flat earth hyphen ers, flat earthers, a derogatory term, but definitely globe earth skeptics. I absolutely agree with that. Nonetheless, when there's no observable nor measurable curvature, what does that mean? Certainly calls everything that we know and based our reality on into question. Everything we've learned through so-called textbooks, through what we would now refer to as Jesuit, even incognito Jesuit Ratio Studiorum. If you've been to public school, as I have, we've gone through the Ratio Studiorum meat grinder. We all have a similar mindset, which reminds me, actually, just out of nowhere, that reminded me of Maria Montessori. I'm Hawkeye. You're Hawkeye, by the way. No, not close, actually, to Clinton Francis Barton, but not exactly. Fascinating story behind that. When I first started checking in a number of years ago with the captain, with Johnny, he nicknamed me almost immediately as from now on. When you report in, you are Hawkeye, Maria Montessori. I think she has her date is it's either today or tomorrow. Yes, she has a birthday, 31 August 1870, a death date of 6 May 1952. A devout Roman Catholic. Without looking into her, I can't remember if there's Jesuit residue, but nonetheless, there a connection that I recognize. Which I'm not just got to back up now. Yes, I started a little early. I'm yawning like crazy. I'm like, okay, I better hit the green light before I run out of steam. And let's see. Hey, Eric, Benjamin. I'm taking that old man river tough with the staff walking across the frozen wasteland. You've got there. Yeah. Hey, what the big the old man Hawkeye comic series, in that image in the lower, I'm depending on what you can actually see. I believe there's a sign in the lower left hand corner. Well, I realize it might be just a circle, but there's a sign down in the lower left corner in the circle that says "Welcome to Canada." So, no, there you go. There you go. There's your Hawkeye. I don't have the amount of hair, but certainly there's some fitting similarities between the man that I've become and this Hawkeye character. Far at points a little too, do I say a little too close, not for comfort, but it's just it is uncanny, I'll say. Uncanny. Nonetheless, thank you very much. Thanks for the thumbs up. Appreciate it. Thank you for being here. What is it? It is August 30th. Just before, but 10 to 11. Broadcasting from the west coast of Canada. Beautiful Jesuit province of British Columbia. Check out our flag. You know what? Let's look that up right now. Just in brief, while I'm thinking of it. Just because we have British Columbia, the British version of Columbia, the Queen of Heaven. And remember, Canada was once 2 Jesuit provinces. I believe it was July 31st, 2018, we shifted from 2 Jesuit provinces into 1, and now I've got to share my screen. All right, 1 moment. I've done this a few times the last couple nights, and I'm still learning how to do it. So let's see what we got. And I had done some work on the heraldry here, and all the information's out the window. It's notes somewhere else. What's fantastic, obviously, doing this, it's okay. What it certainly, if you were to ever to try this, anyone, it's the information. It's experiencing the information that's been retained, the experience of recall, and of course, there's all the information that is not there at a moment's notice. So sometimes, yes, it's amazing to experience jumping from idea to idea and being able to present this. But nonetheless, okay, we're looking at the province of British Columbia, the flag. First, on the very bottom, we must note the Jesuit sun. If I've counted this before, 17, 18, 19 prominent sun rays. I can't remember if I must have come up with my thoughts about this before, and then of course with the waves, there's a particular number of waves, but also and then with the 8-pointed star, or the Union Jack being made up of. Remember, the cross of there's St. Patrick, St. George, and St. Andrew, and it involves you have a beheading, you have a crucifixion. And then I think I've stated that I think it's I don't know if it was St. Patrick, that it's like, what did he get a translation like Enoch and Elijah? Because there's no listed one of the three. I think Andrew was beheaded. No, sorry, Andrew was crucified with the X. George, there's the beheading. And Patrick is the unknown death, how he died. Anyway, I can confirm that at a later date. But anyway, just wanted to. There's our flag. What this combines, and then just noting the poignant Jesuit sun, Jesuit symbolism. All right. I had the other day recently posted a short video about Pope John Paul II and the Mass at Laguna Seca race. What the heck do you call it even? A particular track that had changed literally before, just after the Mass that John Paul II did at this particular racetrack in California, around Carmel, around it was close to where Clint Eastwood was actually mayor I think the community of Carmel, not Caramel, not to be confused. And why am I bringing this up? Yeah, just the irony. I was finding a photo, and that it just happened to be the exact same day. So 17 September 1987, our, in air quotes, beloved Clint Eastwood with Pope John Paul II. Then, of course, Clint Eastwood, remember, being born 31 May 1930 in St. Francis Memorial Hospital in San Francisco. Remember, San Francisco also is St. Francis. I believe Eastwood has been covered multiple times by the captain. They're fascinating. I believe he was enrolled to go to the Jesuit University. Again, it sounds like it's a public university. Okay, where is this? Okay, Clint Eastwood said that he had tried to enroll in the Seattle University, which is, look at that. You got the IHS. You have a Jesuit private Jesuit university in Seattle, Washington. So the state just south of me, divided by the British Columbia, and Washington being divided by the 40, what's known as the 49th parallel. So, but instead was drafted into the United States Army during the Korean War. He always dropped the Korean War reference, hoping everyone would just stop asking questions. Would conclude that he was in combat and might be some sort of hero. Interesting that you find this in the wiki page. Actually, he'd been a lifeguard at Fort Ord in Northern California. So I'm sure you can look up the lifeguard images where I think he's got women. He's holding women on both shoulders. Clearly, there were different plans in sparing Eastwood to sow some sort of narrative. Of course, we go the cowboy films with the connection to Eusebio Francis Kino Pravda, Cinema Truth. Remember, Kino being cinema. And as Frederick Toprasasi points out very clearly, the connection between Eusebio Francisco Kino, his role in as he's been given the title, the father of the cattle business. Husbandry was introduced by, or that particular type of animal husbandry was introduced by Jesuit Eusebio Francisco Kino, and thus the leading to the cowboy archetype character, and then combining that archetype with the moral man who basically ate, slept, and worked with the earth and with animals, had a code, no biblical reference, and then that archetype, that a man could live a moral life without any type of scripture, any type of biblical guidance, any guidance with any relationship with his creator, with our creator, combined with Athanasius Kircher's, so Jesuit Athanasius Kircher's series of inventions, which would eventually lead to the camera that produced what would appear to be moving images. Remember, it's still images played at a particular rate, which fools the human eye into believing, and then connected to our brain, obviously, into believing we're seeing a moving image. So it's just a series, and thus frame rate, so on and so forth, whether it's 18 frames per second, 24. I think 24 was the standard. And for many, many years, whether that's even tied directly into the first production code of Hollywood, known as the Hays Code, which was actually written by a Jesuit, Daniel Aloysius Lord, I believe back in 1930 or 32. That, of course, we can quickly look that up. But anyway, back in that that era. Okay, back to Eastwood, John Paul II. Okay, we're looking at August 30th. Oh, speaking of frame rate, Abraham Zapruder. So we have today in 1970, this is the death date anniversary of Abraham Zapruder, who shot the infamous Zapruder footage. I think without looking further into it, imagine that the only existing footage, I'm not an authority on this, so I'm not going to speak about it, but clearly the only existing footage of the events of that day, November 22nd, 1963, the assassination of John Fitzgerald Kennedy, there's no mistake that later this year, on that anniversary, the release of Ridley Scott's version of his film Napoleon, of course, with the poster with Joaquin Phoenix. And what does it state? He came from nothing, he conquered everything. Now I'm just going to quickly look at the Magic Lantern. Yeah. All right, I'm getting in earlier. Lauren, thank you very much. Montessori schools are much praised for. Yeah, of course. Yeah, devout Roman Catholic, and it must she must be onto something, because back to this idea of when it's a woman presenting the ideal methods of ratio studiorum, just like this idea of the source of the most awesome, I'll say it again, most awesome goddamn propaganda ever produced. Is it any wonder that Vladimir Ledachowski selected Leni Riefenstahl to produce in the 30s the most profound film propaganda ever that we're still studying. And of course, and then what I recently did is connect the Barbie film. The fact that in 7 years, do we even have the ability today to examine mainstream, not just mainstream media, but again, a film like Barbie as propaganda, like what would have been experienced back in the 1930s as viewing Riefenstahl's work? And will it take 70 years? So in 7 years, will people be looking at examining Barbie, studying Barbie, commenting on Barbie, books be written about it, on how this it changed our the shift in thought? And it's crazy when to think about that we're being alive now and observing in real time and experiencing real time what, like, whoever is attributed to the quote about those not knowing their history are doomed to repeat it. How true. Profoundly sad, profoundly true. I wanted to address, okay, here we go. Welcome to the Hawkeye Rising YouTube channel. All right, hi Hawkeye. Yes, Marilyn. Hi Marilyn. Thank you very much for your comment. Thank you for checking out my stuff too. Yeah, Rivera and Saucy. Good. Yep, good. Hey, that's the point. Presenting points that you may have not considered. The beautiful thing, we all come from all different walks of life, bring different opinions, ideas, and so on, experiences, certainly shaping our worldview. Glad that something, maybe, hey, the beautiful thing, imagine that, in the idea, it's not necessarily inception, because this is not about manipulation, but imagine being able to hear something here that might actually have you change your mind about something, or reconsider, or I haven't thought about that. I have followed you. Okay, thank you. Insight and knowledge. Well, I don't know if it's amazing, but I appreciate it. This is in part, I guess, a reflection or an expression of my schooling, my ratio studiorum. And as I've stated before, the idea that in my youth, in my childhood, the profound, I don't know if I'd call it emptiness, but being rejected or abandoned, or in this is not throwing rocks at my father. He had no clue. But his absence, his willful absence, even what that left me open to, and of course, the absence of a father figure, even though he was very close by, but definitely, wow. Yeah, anyway, in those moments of abandonment, and hey, we all have those, certainly some of the most painful memories. There's this, certainly a relationship to certain types of wounds, whether it's, yes, abandonment or abuse or many, or combination of traumas. And I connect that for me in part, especially with my father, with him stepping out on me as a boy, made room for the one that would step in, literally, figuratively and literally, the Jesuit Superior General, which is why I started making kind of a series of driving films of my father, the Jesuit Superior General, or Hawkeye's father, the Jesuit Superior General. So it was that, which is certainly interesting, fleshing all that out, because certain films embedded so deeply. Anyway, all that tying it back to just this, back to your pointing out insight and knowledge. So that's where that comes from. So the wound, being able to be at a place in my life as a man where these wounds could somehow also bear a type of fruit that could possibly benefit you, the community. And I think each of us has, yes, we have that ability, and that's the beauty of literally the redemption. And think of the scripture that who is the one that literally, I'll even look that up because I don't want to get the address wrong. And if I spell it wrong, resurrection, my goodness, and the life. And there, 11:25. John Yehochanan, John 11:25. Sunny and very hot Arizona. Yeah, we've had a bit of a weather change. Got some rain yesterday. It's warm again today. Okay. Anyway, thank you. Much appreciated, Marilyn. Please continue as you see fit and interest. Check out my stuff. Comment as much as you like, and I'll address whatever I can. Okay, glad you're back. Binge watching. Yeah. Hey, you're welcome. And thank you for checking this stuff out. Robert had mentioned, I apologize if you covered this, but if Alberto Rivera was a shill, for what purpose? I do not. That's my position. Current position is Alberto Rivera is not a shill, but I'm coming at it as he is sincere, and I think, as I had mentioned yesterday, if there is a such thing as an ex-Jesuit, especially this is after studying Art of War, or 13 Articles, or Art of War, aka 13 Articles. Getting familiar enough with the fourth vow, the extreme oath of obedience. Can a man shed his Jesuit skin, his wolf skin? No, but if there is a such thing as an ex-Jesuit, it would be Alberto Rivera. I hope that's clear, because I'm not calling him a shill, not yet. Not at all. Not again. That may change. I've not come across enough to have me lean that way yet. It seems more obvious with Saucy. Remember, it wasn't actually obvious with Saucy. That took some digging into, even literally. So it seemed gravestones, certain statements, fleshing out certain statements in his Rulers of Evil, useful knowledge about governing bodies. And then it was discovering that his grandfather, so Frederick Tupper Saucy I, having a Freemasonic tie, even it even being listed in the obituary. Again, having to be clear that there's not an ordination. There's not a what the term would be. Usually there are dates and lodge numbers. No lodge numbers were given at that point. So, but the fact that publicly stated in a very public source that the obituary of Saucy's the first, so Saucy the third's grandfather, being a Freemason, and then of course as Saucy the third stated in his Rulers of Evil, having a cousin who is an ordained. The fact that he states he has an ordained Jesuit cousin. Soft-handed treatment of the Jesuits as being part of God's plan. No, I'm not fully getting what you're. It's more of a statement. You're not asking. What do you mean by God's plan? The soft-handed treatment of the Jesuits. that saucy hopes when we discover what the facts, like the pedocracy, the fact that, which is not, it's like what do we call it? Open secret, the abuse of children. That if Rome and her system runs on the blood and tears of children, and this is a system that we have allowed into our communities, and we allow to go on. It's like we all in part partake of this system, which is why, and I agree with the captain with this. I believe the team's position. This system needs to be literally burned to the ground, which is why we have Revelation 17, Revelation 18. Where there is a very clear turning that's coming, and the beast that the whore rides, at some point will turn on the great harlot, burn her with fire, tear her flesh. And do we say consume her? Consume the literal eater of children. And we wait patiently, but with great anticipation, with excitement, with anger, grief, the whole rainbow of emotion, that it would happen soon. The amount of injustice, at the same time, we don't have his perspective, his point of view. Imagine his grief, what he's witnessed, what his creation, what has taken place in his creation in his time, and thus how profound the sacrifice of the Son. Nonetheless, we go back to John 11:25, I'm the resurrection and the life. And then we think of John 14:6, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes to the Father but through me. Jesus speaking. You don't. It's not a disclaimer. You don't have to be a Christian to hear these messages as we go through little names, places, and dates. I do have a Christian perspective. I am born again, and as I had shared recently too, my birthday being on the anniversary of the suppression of the Society of Jesus, July 21st, 1997. Something certainly shifted in me. Okay, a letter from... Okay, this is what I also wanted to get to. Actually, first, let's just examine what have I missed. I'm glad you agree, Lauren, that Alberto was a real deal. It's certainly, there's the back and forth, but the more we examine, you can see how his message being marginalized. Back to the idea of turning his testimony into a literal cartoon. As long as a man still can draw breath, there is still hope. Let's see. We may see Rome end pretty well. So, hey. Yeah, great points. Okay. And in part continuing to visit. Okay. I'll just jump into this briefly, considering that we're dealing with the third order of Saint Dominic. So back to the Dominican order in part, because remember paradise, or this ideal paradise in the middle of near the middle of the Pacific Ocean, Hawaii. When did the fires begin there? Around on the anniversary, the feast day of Saint Dominic, the founder of the Dominican order. So we think of today of Rose of Lima, she has a feast day. So back to the irony of we have dates here. So feast day, August 23rd. Some Latin American countries pre-1970, as per the general Roman calendar, has it as August 30th. But the fact that 23 August, and as I've covered before, the fact that we're jumping from Hawaii down to Nicaragua now. Where is it? A letter from, you know what, I will drop this link in the chat. Hopefully it gets there. Even though it should be, where is it again? Coming up on the screen. So a letter from General Sosa regarding UCA Nicaragua. So this is written 23 August 2023. Remember, a year to the day, 23 August 2022. Jesuit Pope Francis stated all Vatican assets to be returned to Rome by September 30th. September 30th being the feast day of Third Jesuit Superior General Francis Borgia. A year later, we have this event after a couple other Sansuan drum beats were hit. We think of 16 August 2023 when all this began in Nicaragua. 16 August being having a connection to 18th Jesuit Superior General Lorenzo Ricci. He is a generalate and supposedly ended in 1773, 16 August. Okay, so this is a letter from current Jesuit Superior General. And it goes, he is writing to Jose Domingo Costa, Provincial Curia of Central America, San Salvador. Dear Father Provincial, it is with great surprise and even greater pain for the consequences for the youth and for all the people of Nicaragua that I have received the news of the unjust measure of seizure and confiscation of the assets of the Central American University, UCA, of Managua, by the institutions that make up the present government regime in Nicaragua. Remember, Daniel Ortega, Jesuit trained, Jesuit educated, his wife devout Roman Catholic. She's the vice president of Nicaragua. So husband and wife team. I wish to express to you at this time my solidarity and that the whole Society of Jesus with you, with the Central American province, and with all the work that the UCA, its directors, its teaching and administrative staff have been doing since the beginning in 1960, and especially in these last few years in which important progress has been made in maturing as a university at the service of the nation. Jumping down, line with the mission of the Society of Jesus and the Catholic Church. Okay, so the UCA's, so Sosa states or writes, UCA's service has always been in line with the mission of the Society of Jesus and the Catholic Church, defending the cause of justice and truth, promoting the right to think and to an open, promoting the right to think, the right to think the way of the Jesuit Superior General. And remember, inception is real, and through promulgated through the Jesuit Ratio Studiorum, the whole entire education process, and to an open, democratic, and free education. Yeah, it's sure free, but what does it cost? Socially committed to the quality of education and the defense of the rights and lives of the most disadvantaged. All the national and international awards received by the UCA in these 63 years bear witness to this. What did I want to point out? With similar slander, they have also outraged the rights of so many people, their reputation, their lives, and the property of the fact. So I join in calling for this judicial measure. So again, and comparing, if, and just as Saucy is presented very clearly, if 18th Jesuit Superior General Lorenzo Ricci did indeed author 13 Articles, aka Art of War, engineer the suppression of the Society of Jesus, engineer the French Revolution, engineer the what would become the independence, American independence, the Declaration of Independence. We give the same weight to current Jesuit Superior General Arturo Sosa. Every single act. This is why it's important to examine and keep watch. What is the Jesuit Superior General doing? What's he saying? And then having to read between the lines. Remember, Jesuit sophistry, casuistry. I join in calling for this judicial measure against the UCA to be reversed and corrected, for the government's aggression against it and its members to cease, and for paths of dialogue to be opened on the basis of truth. Yeah, I bet. Paths of dialogue to be opened. Freedom and the right to quality education for young people and for all of the people of Nicaragua. The words of our General Congregation 36, dedicated to those who work in situations of frontier and persecution to defend the truth, are valid here. You are not alone. You are part of an apostolic body whose sole consolation is to be placed with the Son and his suffering as well as in his glory. Remember, the Jesuit Superior General is Jesus Christ. Friendship gathers us as friends in the Lord and calls us to love and serve in all things. All right, and then the scriptural quotes. And once again, and in particular way, in this moment of the cross, by remaining faithful to Jesus of Nazareth, I reiterate my support and that of the whole Society of Jesus for the mission carried out by the Central American province at the UCA in Managua. I remain in communion with you and with all our Jesuit companions and with all those with whom we share the mission, and to have put heart, soul, and life into making possible what the UCA is today, taking risks so that it may continue to do so for the greater glory, for the common good, for Laudato Si, for Rome, for the Vatican, for the Mary, the Queen of Heaven. With our complete trust in him and his truth that sets us free, Arturo Sosa, S.J., Superior General. And again, we have it, is it written August 17th? Yes, dated 17 August 2023 from Rome. Okay. Let's check what's been saying. Yeah, exactly. Go forth and set the world on fire. Go forth and set fire. Hey Google. Hey Siri. Hey Alexa. Go forth and set the world on fire. Yeah, monolithic conspiracy. Remember, and then within 6 years of that speech, maybe not exactly to the date, but within approximately 6 years, the release of Kubrick's 2001 The Space Odyssey, the arrival of the image of the black monolith, and then the following year in 1969, the alleged moon landing, the voyage to the moon, and let's see, Virgil Gus Grissom. Even so, burned alive. Remember, this is Grissom, a Freemason, a noted Freemason, was what did he do? He criticized just how, I don't want to put words in his mouth. I think he even stated that somebody's going to get killed doing what we're doing. And what did he do? I think the last time he saw his wife, what did he do? It stated he pulled a lemon from a lemon tree in his backyard and put on a coat hanger and hung it from the lunar module. And I don't know if it was within hours or a day or two. Burned alive with Roger. Don't want to get the names wrong either. Is it Roger Chaffee and something White? Ed? Early Life Korean War. Oh, here's a man that, unlike Clint Eastwood did, Project Mercury, spacecraft Apollo program. Go on, just looking for here we go. Edward Higgins White II, and then Roger Bruce Chaffee. The three men burned alive, 27 January 1967. And opening the door for the team Armstrong, so Neil Armstrong, Michael Collins, and Buzz. I can't remember. Is Buzz Aldrin? What is his full name? Also another noted. Okay, we don't have his full. And still lives today. Aldrin still lives today. 93 years old. Inception is real. Sorry, where am I going? Okay, and that's let's go back to Rose of Lima for a moment. So Rose of Lima, so 20 April, here's our I present that 20 April 1534 is the actual, as per the Gregorian calendar, that the beast out of the sea began its move towards the empowering of the beast out of the land. And we're going back, 20 April 1534, with the moment Jacques Cartier set sail from Saint Malo, Brittany, northern France, under commission from King Francis I. 20 April 1534. And Revelation 13, we have the dragon, the beast out of the sea, empowering the beast out of the land, or beast out of the earth, and then the beast out of the earth causes all to worship the dragon. Okay, Rosa Lima was a member of the Third Order of St. Dominic in Lima, Peru, who became known for both her life of severe penance and her care of the poverty-stricken of the city through her own private efforts. Rose of Lima was born to a noble family and is the patron saint of embroidery, gardening, and cultivation of blooming flowers. She's also known for, there's a couple other things sewing laces, gardeners, florists. People ridiculed or misunderstood for the piety, for the resolution of family quarrels, against vanity, indigenous peoples of the Americas. A lay member of the Dominican order. She was declared a saint by the Catholic Church. I want to get the date for that. So, and then canonized as a saint, Rose of Lima had been designated as co-patroness of the Philippines along with this particular place. Both saints were moved to second-class patronage in September 1942 by Pius the 12th, Eugenio Mary Giuseppe Giovanni Pacelli. Her image is featured on the highest denomination banknote in Peru. There was something that I wanted to. She wanted to become a nun. Okay, so she instead entered the Third Order of St. Dominic, and Remember, anything to do with the Dominicans and St. Dominic, remember it might not show it here, but the image of the Dominican order is captured with the dog with the flaming torch in its mouth. So back to this idea of going forth and setting the world on fire as an order, as a declaration from Ignatius Loyola. It's clearly older than Ignatius Loyola. Certainly, it's been capitalized through the Jesuit order. Because remember, and again, I'll say it again, Doc Felipe said it perfectly. The Dominicans were master inquisitors, and how they I don't want to put words in his mouth. Master inquisitors, and how they tortured the body. The Jesuits, however, became master inquisitors by torturing the body and the mind, masterfully torturing the body and the mind, turning it essentially into an art form. And of course, the Dominican order going back to 1215. Interestingly enough, 1215. Remember, I believe it's June 15th. We also have the signing of the Magna Carta. We're not going to get into that right now, but fascinating because we have I just want to make sure that it might be the 30th of August, or it might be the 31st. We have. So James VI of Scotland. No, I believe it's the 31st. And it's not about saving it for tomorrow, but I'll just mention it right now. 1535. Remember, in 1534, King Henry VIII, through the Acts, I'll actually look that up, Acts of Supremacy, 1534. Acts of Supremacy. Which defined the right of Henry VIII to be supreme head on earth of the Church of England, thereby severing ecclesiastical links with Rome. Remember, 1534, the year that Martin Luther published, after translating, printed both Old and New Testaments, which I believe was the impetus behind what this move through Jacques Cartier. The move that led to and inspired Ignatius Loyola and his six companions, so the first 7 in total, on August 15, 1534, a special declaration to the Queen of Heaven, became Knights of the Virgin Mary, which would later become the Jesuit order or the Society of Jesus. So 1534, big year. We have Supremacy. Where is it? There. So in 1535, Pope Paul III, and Alessandro Farnese. So just under a year later, excommunicates English King Henry VIII from the church. He drew up a papal bull of excommunication, which began Eius qui immobilis. Subterfuge. I believe so. Now I know I've stated my position on this. I think the narrative of Henry VIII and going however many wives he had. I'm not an authority on this yet. I believe the break from Rome was scripted, and I can't. I can state that, but I don't have enough to support it yet. Nonetheless, I can still state my position, but I don't have enough that I'm. Let's see. Good. All right. I know. Looking at the clock, we're winding down shortly. You're always. Let's see. Who did I miss? Have I missed anybody? Hey, Keith. Hello from Mississippi. First live. I watched a lot. Okay, good. Hello, Keith. Welcome. Thank you very much. From Mississippi. Okay, hey, this is West Coast of Canada. This is from the state. Look at this. Can I even spell this? Wow. Miss. Nope. I'm even going to old Vatapedia for this. How's the weather? Mississippi is the United States bordered by northern Tennessee into the East Alabama, Gulf of Mexico. Wow, Gulf of Mexico. Yeah, April 20th. Back to this idea of the beast out of the sea. And in part, that's why I also think 20 April, was it 2010? The BP oil, this brutal event, was it 93 days? That might be wrong. It's 80 to 90 something days. Nobody taking responsibility, acting. And then everything that followed, I'd done some research. There was looking into literally like from Corexit, the two different types of Corexit, as a dispersant being sprayed. And then, of course, next thing you know, how many people started showing up with different types of flesh-eating diseases, illnesses. Then, of course, the habitat animals. Sorry, a little bit of a tangent there. Don't mind me. Anyway, welcome, Keith. Indies Landing is real. Yeah. Really? I think it's real. I think it's real too. Where did the Jesuits? Where did Xavier go even before the election of Ignatius Loyola as first Jesuit Superior General? Francis Xavier was en route to India. We're not going to get into this now. Let's see. Go in. Inquisition. Founded 1560. Yes, of course, it comes up first. Portuguese Inquisition in Portuguese India. Its objective was to enforce Catholic orthodoxy and allegiance to the Apostolic See of Rome. Francis Xavier had a prominent role. Okay, that's a rabbit trail. We're not going to go down right now. All right. Yeah, Eric, how's that blog? Terzna, you always here. Good. Hey, glad you guys are communicating. Nicaragua is a capstone in central. Oh, shit, where'd it go? No, they haven't lost control. They've educated the elites in the masses. It just means they're deeper. Yeah. Keith, are you speaking to somebody in the chat or to me? You'll be 63 in October. Can relate to your stories. Oh, perhaps my stories or Lauren's, somebody. Yeah, just want to make sure that I'm addressing. It's the Bloomer Star tonight. Yeah, welcome. Anyway, okay. I think we've covered. I just wanted to hit. It's funny. I just wanted to hit the JP2 Clint Eastwood in part, loosely, but Rose of Lima. What else? Yeah, and the fact that we're counting down up to September, the old 7th month, now the 9th month. Approaching us quickly with September 3rd, September 8th, September 10th, September 11th. Wow. And then I couldn't imagine being a young person today who had not, one who maybe not was either born or had not been born yet, and was not able had so therefore not viewing what was presented that day. It's surreal to go back and think of what we witnessed, those that were alive. Like, it's okay, looking at the ages that what we were presented with that day, and even then, how many of us are already like, yeah, jet fuel doesn't melt or doesn't cause 110-story buildings to collapse into itself, and just having that wrong feeling. And then later that day with World Trade 1, World Trade 2, and then 7 World Trade later that day. I think every time I talked about this, then her name escapes me. I'll look it up. I'll have it, and I forget it. The beauty of life presenting on the BBC of the collapse, or whatever word you want to use. I know that it's a joke. The word dustify. There's no word in the English language can describe. Pancaking is something we've also used, but is it a pancaking? It doesn't describe what happened to these buildings. It's like they disappeared while falling into itself, like, and then it being reported. The woman for the BBC was reporting, and was it over her right or left shoulder? 7 World Trade was still standing, and 20 minutes later, after she had reported the collapse of 7 World Trade, 20 minutes later 20 minutes later it fell, and nothing had hit it, and it was reported it was office fires. Yeah, I fear for my children and grandchildren. It's funny being at this. What am I? I'm like mid-40s, and I don't no children. And part of what comes from this is leading up to and then eventually laying my dad to rest. And then this idea of, if I had a son or if I had a daughter, what would I teach them? How would I teach them? What would I tell them? How would I prepare them to go out into this world? Yes, there's the day-to-day things, but like the idea of how do you teach and raise one who discerns, an inquisitive mind. And this is again the beauty, the power of a good Jesuit education of Ratio Studiorum, which we've all gone through. And somehow here we are, some of us, not many, unfortunately. What again was it? The tap on the shoulder, and we joked among the team, a tap in the nuts, using the CAPS language. What was it? At some point, we stopped drinking the Kool-Aid, literally, or stopped drinking literally the tap water. Yeah, great grandbabies, and then of course watching young ones, like I'm thinking of a young couple in particular who've have a 1.5-year-old boy who decided to go through the vaccination route. The standard vaccinations, but also the COVID vaccination. Especially mom, while she was pregnant, got I think the first. I don't know which brand, but ended up literally collapsing in her bathroom, blacking out, but never questioned the narrative, and thank goodness gave birth to a healthy baby boy. And he's bright and amazing and beautiful, and eyes are nice and bright, steady. And it's just, in part, it's this thought of maybe she got the sugar shot. I don't know, but not many. We know there. Think of the stories of those that didn't fare so well, that are left with the damage, the tremors, neurological issues, and so on and so forth. Anyway, it's like talking to the choir. Yeah. Oh wow. I'm looking at Astrolabs 11. My son was born September 8th. September 8th, 11 of September was the day he went home. Yeah. Yeah, the event I remember before signing off, my parents and I can't think of their grades, but being in, I think it was essentially high school in 63, November 22nd, when John Fitzgerald Kennedy was assassinated, broad daylight, and even in Canada, this black feeling, this uncertainty, this unknown, and that literally this thought that the world is going to end soon, and like even everybody being sent home from school early, looking over their shoulders, wondering what's going to be falling from the sky. That kind of trauma. Good. Yeah, hearing the art of war and understanding more about the control of the people by Jesuit theater. Remember, if it's on a screen, it's Jesuit theater. It's been selected, produced, produced, especially for our. Well, go back to sleep. Go back to sleep. Okay, good point, Benjamin. Are you in all chat mode? Because if you're just in talk chat, you're missing messages. Yeah, I'm probably missing messages. Okay. Wow, Lauren. Okay. Well, clearly, I'm still green at this, and thank you very much for joining your Hawkeye. As I don't know what I'm doing. At least, hey, if the sound's okay, we're on to something. We're on to something. At least it's a start. Okay, how about that? So there's a take that little victory, and oh, did I just learn? Hey, Benjamin, what did I just learn? Okay, what's going to happen next? I just click live chat. I don't know if something's going to change. Thank you for. Sounds great, beautiful, good to know. All right, any other questions? Questions, comments? I'm going to be signing off shortly. It's getting late again. Broadcasting from the west coast of Canada. We are now one Jesuit province. How about America? Remember, it started 2014. I don't have the exact date off by heart yet. The announcement that the 10 Jesuit provinces in America would be transitioning to 4 provinces. And July 31st, so the feast day of Ignatius Loyola, 2020, that transition was completed. I might be off by a year. 2020, I believe it was 2020, the year one of this pandemic. So, and remember going back to 2016, where there was approximately almost 6 weeks of 5 living popes. 10 horns to 4. Yeah, Johnny's got the brilliant, has a brilliant position on that. That the 10 horns, 10 kings without kingdoms are actually Jesuit provincials, and are they the provincials now, or were they the provincials of the 10 Jesuit provinces of America, which now is transitioned to 4, like the East Province, West Province. That can be confirmed, but easily verified. Glad I caught you live. Thank you. Hey, Keith, appreciate it too. It's funny. As far as scheduling goes, I don't have a plan yet. I seem to be hitting it almost every night around this time. I don't know if this is going to continue like this. It's just the timing and the dates. And then, of course, what's going on, current events. Remember, make sure to check out if you can. So Johnny's Odyssey channel, I'll actually look that up just so. Forgive me, Keith, if you have not mentioned, or if you did mention and I missed it, or if I've forgotten it. It's all the information that I do. No, Cerrucci Odyssey. Usually the captain's got does a stream per day. I think has been hitting them consistently per day. Good. Yeah, the best. Okay. Yeah. Hey, that's right. In the greatest form of rebellion, literally, is waking up, being alive. The bloodline families and the Jesuit provincials would inevitably have interconnections. That like button. Yeah, hit that like button. 6 likes. Hey, 7 watching now. That's great, and I'm one of them. So hey, thank you for the likes, everyone. Awesome. Okay, I think this is. I know I jumped around a little bit, but JP2 Rosalima letter. We read Arturo Sosa's letter. Maria Montessori. Her birthday's tomorrow. Oh, and just noting, blending this with my other work with Lance Armstrong, Dr. Michele Ferrari, same school, same Sapienza, University of Rome. Obviously different times, but the fact that there's the University of Rome connection. Position, Mississippi. Axis supremacy and the resurrection of the life, British Columbian flag, Montessori. Okay. Sounds like you guys are awesome. I really appreciate you being here. And hey, we call it hanging out, fellowshipping even. You're the best. All right. Again, welcome, Keith. Thank you. And just how about that? The balls even just disclose what state. That's thank you, because it's really cool to know that it's quite something to know that somehow me broadcasting here is getting out there somewhere. Anyway, thank you very much. All right, for until next time, bless you. Much love, brothers. And just like the cap, keep strong, be strong, remain strong, and be hopeful, because resistance. Hey, if you what's the line from John Connor? If you're hearing this, you are the resistance. Yeah, Montessori schools. You are the resistance. Anyway, resistance is rising. All right, bye for now.